Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how I made these dishes out of homemade play clay, aka baking soda clay. This recipe is extremely simple. I got the instructions off this really old box of baking soda I found in my house. First, I mixed that whole box, which was 500 grams of baking soda, with 1 cup or 250 milliliters of cornstarch in a saucepan. Then I added 1¼ cup or 300 milliliters of water. The whole box would actually fill up the saucepan, but I'm only making 1/8 of the recipe in this video. If you want color, you can add food coloring to the water before you mix it all together. I stirred this mixture over a medium heat until it became a ball with a texture similar to mashed potatoes. If you cook it for too long after that, the end product may crack. Mine did end up cracking, but I'll show you how I dealt with that. When it's done, remove the clay from the pan and place it on a plate. Cover it with a damp towel and let it cool. 1/8 of this recipe makes enough for a ball that fits in my hand, which is probably enough for 1 bowl, and the original recipe makes enough to fill this Ziploc bag. Play clay is basically Play-Doh, so it should feel like that when it's done. It's smooth, slightly gummy, and slightly translucent. If you have gel colors or powdered colors, you can knead that into the dough now. To make the bowl, roll the clay out to 1/2 centimeter thickness or 1/4 inch thick and cut out the shape of the bowl that you want. I used real bowls to allow the clay to dry in the shape that I wanted. I put parchment paper to prevent any potential sticking, but I didn't smooth out my parchment paper, so it did leave indents in the clay later on. Then I let this air dry for 1 day. Then I flipped it to dry on the bottom side for another day. My bowls did end up cracking, so I took some fresh clay and just smeared it thinly over the cracks. It won't hide the bigger cracks completely, but it does make it less visible. Acrylic paint will probably cover it, and a design may be able to hide it. Because the fresh clay is so thin, it dries quickly. I sanded it with some fine grit sandpaper to make the added clay appear smoother. You can clean up the dust easily with a damp paper towel. Then I used some watercolor brush pens to paint this design that was inspired by this Haagen-Dazs ice cream bar that I was eating the other day. The watercolor works very nicely, but markers, paints, and Sharpies would work as well. The original instructions say that you can coat this with varnish or clear nail polish, but I'm sort of scared that the clear nail polish will dissolve my design, so I did not do that. You can use these bowls for tea candles, jewelry, or rings, or whatever else you can think of. If you make the bowl big enough, then you can put whatever you want inside. You could probably also mold this into one of those cones that holds your rings. Another idea is to use it to make Christmas ornaments, which is what the original instructions intended this recipe for. Anyway, that's all I have for now. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you would try out or if you've already tried this before. Thank you for watching.